Hey guys, it's Whiskey. Welcome to Palm Tree Elegy. This one's going under Whiskey's Warriors, but you can watch it otherwise. I said something about PTSD triggers and things that just come up and you start getting through all your old stuff. And I'm at the point now where big things have to happen for big things to come out. And I'm at the kind of the bedrock of things of how things have been formed. Anyway, I was at Business Mastery with Tony Robbins. It was a 5-day event, like 12, 14-hour days. It was brutal, but it was amazing. And I learned the biggest lesson there that wasn't part of their curriculum. And that was, one of the parts of it was learning, or they gave us a game to do, like a competition, and they teamed us up with other people on our main team, on our virtual team, versus it was a hybrid course. So there's people in the audience, and there's people virtually on screens. And my group instantly elected me as the leader of our group, which then presented, they didn't want to do the next job either. And I'm like, no, you made me the leader. So now somebody else got to do the next job. And I had to take on to this leadership role. Well, we had just learned two things previous to that. One was, in the world of business, there are artists, there are leader managers, and there are entrepreneurs. I am actually an artist, which we love to create, and we would really give our stuff away for free, but we know we can't do that because we have to eat and pay our bills too. So that was the first main lesson we'd learned before this competition. The second one was, do you have a gorilla? And they showed us a video, and it's kind of funny. It's a video where you had to focus on one thing, and because you were so focused on one thing, you literally did not see the gorilla, this person in a gorilla suit, walk through the scene that you were watching, right? And it's really telling you about when you're fixated on one thing, you're not going to notice other things because of how your brain blocks everything else out that you don't deem important. So we had just watched that gorilla video, and I was doing like breakout rooms and doing things throughout this course and throughout this conference where I was trying to be a leader for my team, and I was trying to keep up with the conference. And I met, for the first time face to face, I met Neurotic Nancy, and she didn't have a name until that conference. And what had happened was everything kind of started closing in and caving in on me, and I started to really disassociate, and I didn't understand what was happening because I was disassociated. And one of the amazing trainers from the Tony Robbins team popped into my breakout room and said, "Hey, I think you have a gorilla." I was so disassociated, I had no idea what he was talking about when he referred to the gorilla. And we had just gone over this. So once it finally clicked, I was like, oh, I have a gorilla. And it was a big one. And what had happened was I had to notice and come to terms with the fact that I am a natural born artist. I was born to create. I was born to give and love, and I had to learn to receive, right? But from a very, very young age, I was taught and I was conditioned to be a leader manager. I was put in charge of things and held responsible for things that little kids should not be responsible or in charge of. But at 47 years old, I found myself in this conference with thousands of other people falling into this same tract of, I'm a leader, I got this, I'm a leader manager, I can handle anything, give me all your things. And the two, because I'm so strong into my authentic self now, the two things, the artist, my natural self, authentic self, and the leader manager, my conditioned self, were competing with each other during this conference. And it was just, when I finally saw it, and when he finally pointed out the gorilla and I saw the gorilla, it was a complete meltdown, because I was like, holy crap, how many times in my life have I done things or taken on things that were not true to me, that were not my authentic self, and they were not the foundation of myself that I thought they were. They were conditioned and they were programmed in by somebody else, and multiple somebodies, because then I took on the role myself, right? I'm like, oh, I got this, no problem. I'll solve everybody's problems, right? I got this. It always works out. Watch me, look at me. And it wasn't about ego. It was that I because it was conditioned for so long, it has been practiced. The leadership manager skills have been practiced in my life for over 40 years. So I am, in fact, a very strong leader and manager. But I had disassociated and removed that from my authentic self, which is the artist. So now I understand that I can artistically lead. I can be a leader and a manager and do it while being my authentic self. And that's what I really want to point out to people is just keep working on yourself, keep going, because these things, it took me years before this finally come out, right? And it literally took me, they couldn't believe it. It took me 5 minutes, boohoo a couple tears, say, okay, I see this. I acknowledge you. Neurotic Nancy, you're there. You've been there. I see where you've played a part in my life. And I got real with myself. I took a breather for 5 minutes. And then I picked myself up and said, okay, I know who I am now. And I jumped right back in the ring as Whiskey, not as Neurotic Nancy. And by the time that conference was over, on the last day, we had to let go of limiting beliefs and acknowledge those things that have changed in us from day 1 to day 5. And on that day, I divorced Neurotic Nancy. I give her all the grace and love in the world because she's kept me safe and she's taught me the things that I needed to do to survive in my life. But there's no place in my life for her anymore. And I give her grace and I gave her love and I divorced her. Because this is Whiskey. I can be in charge. I can lead. But my heart and soul doesn't have to hide, and it doesn't have to be strong, and it doesn't have to show an invalid strength, because that wasn't really strong. That was a protection. This is my strength. Helping you is my strength. Helping myself is my strength. And if it's something, sorry, my hands are shaking. When you find you and you have to question which one is real, when this happens, it's usually the real one. And run with it. See what happens, because we all change and we all morph. And we all go through this journey of discovery to get where we're really, really supposed to be. I don't regret it. I love Neurotic Nancy, but she's not welcome to dinner, right? So I love y'all. I'll catch you on the next one. Keep on rocking.